Okay. Now, we want to redefine Sharia auditing. Alright. So, Sharia auditing can be defined as a process of obtaining and evaluating sufficient and reliable evidence to ensure whether the entity, whether it's an Islamic bank, Islamic business organization, or universities, Islamic university, or zakat institution or waqf institution, whether they all comply with the Sharia in all its aspects. That would be a definition of Sharia auditing. Now, in order to make Sharia auditing into a profession like the conventional auditing, or even better, because our scope is wider, there are certain issues which we have to deal with and overcome these problems before we can become an audit. Okay. Now, Sharia auditing is very important to achieve the maqasid of Sharia, because if you do not do Sharia auditing, we do not know whether Islamic institutions like Islamic banks are complying with the Sharia. Now, AOFA has something called Sharia review, which is actually a sort of an audit, but it's not a full comprehensive audit. It is a cursory audit, I would call it. Right? And this review concentrates mainly on the Sharia contracts at the moment. Okay, but we need to broaden this. Okay, let's look at these issues. Firstly, we have a problem with the definition. Sharia auditing is not defined by AOFI. All right, perhaps because they never revised the standard for so long, they have to look at it again. But what they did was something which is, it's very actually they had a foresight to do it 20 years ago, that they started with they insisted that each Islamic bank should be, at least there should be a Sharia review. What is a Sharia review? It defines it as an examination of the extent of IFI, Islamic Financial Institution, compliance with the Sharia. The Sharia is defined as the rules and standards used and fatwas of the Sharia Supervisory Board of the Islamic Bank, or it could be National Sharia Advisory Board fatwas, or it could be Sharia standards of AOFI. Alright? So the examination includes contracts, agreements, policies, products, transactions, etc. Alright? Alright. So this is actually quite broad what they say, okay? Alright? So it says in all its activities, that means all the activities of the Islamic Bank, not only the accounting activities or the contracting activities. It must look at the marketing activities, the personnel activities, and so on. Okay? And then the Sharia board will have to conclude after their review whether Islamic Bank has in all its activities followed the Sharia or not. Okay? But the practice currently is they don't do that because they don't have time, they are not full time, they might not have the expertise and so on. Therefore, they just concentrate on the contracts, and if they follow AOFI, they concentrate on four things, which is whether the zakat is calculated properly, whether the investment account holders has been distributed their fair share, whether the prohibited earnings has been dispensed with or cleansed or given to charity. Okay, and there's one more thing I forgot. Okay, come back to that later. All right. Now, what happens is, technically speaking, a review is a smaller scale audit than a complete audit. An audit is much thorough, very systematic, very deep. Okay. Whilst the definition of Sharia review is broad in its scope, however, the word review is inappropriate here, because if you want to cover so many activities, you cannot do a review. Because review is just like auditing a book by looking at its cover. Okay? If you have a nicely, a book which is green in color, which has, domes and all that, which have stars and crescent, we say, oh, it's Sharia compliant. Okay? We haven't looked inside yet. So a review is just like that. Whereas an audit would look at what is inside, the book and do a thorough examination. So basically, I would suggest that AOP changes its term from review to audit. Okay. Now another issue is the independence and qualification of Sharia auditors. Currently, AOP requires that the Sharia Supervisory Board or Sharia Committee, they are supposed to do the Sharia review. Now, unfortunately, they have two other tasks which are directing and supervising the Islamic Bank. Okay, as far as Sharia is concerned. Now, when you direct something, that is managing, and supervise what people are doing, and now you do the review, you are creating a conflict of interest situation. Okay. Now, suppose let's take a company, a firm of accountants. Okay, and we give them, we give them a consultancy. Said, okay, you are going to do a accounting system, a computerized accounting system for us. We give them a consulting. So let's say they finish that. Now we appoint them as auditor to audit whether the system is working as it should be. Now, do you think there is a conflict of interest here? There is. Alright? You cannot audit what you have done yourself, because it's human nature to say that you have done a good job, although it is not a good job. Okay? So you should not ask the developer of the system to audit the system, or the guy who does the accounts to audit their own accounts. Audit must be independent, carried out by another person who did not do the activities. Okay? So the first problem is independence. Sharia Supervisory Board is not independent because they are doing other things which are contradicting with the review or audit function. Number two is they are not qualified to do audit. Audit is a specialist technique. Okay, getting evidence. Okay, to see whether something is in conformance is a special technique. Alright, you need to get certified in that audit techniques. Okay, alright, but an auditor, conventional auditor, by the same token, cannot do the audit because although he knows the audit technique, he doesn't know the Sharia. Whereas the Sharia Supervisory Board knows Sharia, don't know audit technique. Especially when it comes to other than financial statement. Contracts, maybe they can still do. Other than that, they might not be able to do. So we need a group of independent external auditors who are qualified both in Sharia as well as auditing and accounting and finance, so that they are able to do this task to ensure that the audit is credible, can be relied upon, to preserve the independence of the auditor of the Islamic Bank. Okay, let's skip this. Okay, the other issue is now remember I said that auditing is a process of getting evidence to see whether the subject matter of the audit, i.e. for example the activities of the Islamic Bank, is in compliance with the Sharia. Now I also said the Sharia means the rules and principles and standards of fatwas established by the Sharia Supervisory Board. Now the problem here is, in order to gain acceptance by the general public in a country or across the borders, cross-border, you need a set of Sharia standards which are acceptable by all these people. Alright? We do not need a global standard. For example, if the Sharia standards in Malaysia is different from Sharia standards in the Middle East, so be it. Alright? But for Sharia standards, when you do Sharia audit, in the Middle East, we will use the Sharia standards of the AOP or scholars in the Middle East. When we do we call it Nusantara here, Malaysia, Indonesia, Brunei, okay? When they do audit, they follow their scholars as long as they have established a Sharia standard for Islamic banks, okay? But if you base your audit on just the fatwas of the Sharia Supervisory Board, it will only be applicable to that particular bank. Other people, when they see, they say, oh, you don't comply according to our standards. So it must be established. Established means accepted by the general public, either in a particular country at least, or particular region, or hopefully the whole ummah. Okay. So this one we need to standardize our, or accept the standard Sharia standards which we have. And the AOF is a good beginning. Okay. Of course, it can be added to, subtracted, or whatever. Alright. So we need a set of standards. Whereas if you take a conventional auditing, the established standards are the IFRS, which are converging throughout the world. So everybody almost have accepted IFRS. So no problem, as long as you say that you are using IFRS as your criteria to audit the financial statement, everybody will accept it. Okay? So we need to settle, Muslims have to settle on a standardized body of Sharia to be able to do Sharia audit. Not necessarily one set for the whole world. You can, at least it has to be accepted in that country or the region. Preferably the whole world, inshallah. Okay. Okay. Then we also need Sharia auditing standards. Now, please do not confuse yourself between auditing standards and accounting standards or criteria. Alright. Now, auditing standards tells you the methodology of the audit. How are you going to audit murabaha? How are you going to audit musharaka? What are the steps necessary? What evidence must you get? How much evidence must you get? Okay, in order to make an opinion whether it is complying with the Sharia. These are auditing standards. It tells you how to do the audit, how much evidence to get, what evidence to get. That's what Sharia, auditing standard is. Alright. Whereas accounting standard tells you how to do the accounting. Alright. Now, when you do financial statement audit, you use IFRS as your criteria. So when you get evidence, you will see whether the accounts or the financial statement, they follow the IFRS standards. Now, if you want to know whether the accounting follow the Sharia, we should follow the Sharia accounting standard as the criteria. But there must also be standard to tell you how you should do the Sharia audit of account financial statement of IFIs. So this is where we need Sharia auditing standards. In the conventional field, we have 60 or 70 conventional auditing standards. They call it International Standards on Auditing. AOP has just come out with 8 or 9. Long way to go. Since the scope is 10 times wider than conventional auditing, if the 60 is a good measure for conventional auditing, we probably need 600 Sharia auditing standards. That's my ballpark figure, if you want to cover the entire area. Okay? So this is a big problem. And also this should be accepted at least by the Muslim countries, or regionally, or at least in the country. Okay? So we should have Sharia auditing standard which tells you how to do the audit to a standard or benchmark level. Okay? That's Sharia auditing standards. Sharia standards are the criteria on which you base your audit. They are two different things. Please do not confuse yourself. Okay? So this slide here shows the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Sharia audit, review standards by AOF. Okay, this again shows the auditing standards, governance standards, ethics standard. So we have 7 governance standards. Okay, which also something like review standards, auditing standards. So actually we can mix the governance standards and and the auditing standards together. So we mix them, it's 7 plus 5 is 12. So we have 12 Sharia auditing standards, we can say. But as I said, we need 600. Okay, so long way to go. Okay, I think. So I think it's almost 1 hour 20 minutes. So I'll stop here. You can look at the slide too. These are just some research findings as well as a little bit more on the procedures of auditing. Okay, you can have a look yourself. So I stop here with my lecture unless you want me to continue. Can we have your questions and answers? And inshallah, I'll try to answer them, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Hamid. We will start the question and answer session now. And let me start due to the prayer I know. Time is Malaysia, International Islamic University.
Yeah.